roots and how I started in my workplace. And if you look years back when I graduated, I am an architect by profession. These were my tools. This was basically the set of tools that I had at my disposal. To create drawings of buildings, you had to use T-squares, triangles, different stencils, and to be honest, at that point in time, these were pretty much advanced tools. My device at that time was this. It was a giant table that used to fit the large sheets of paper that we used to use, and I started working at an SME. And the ultimate agility of this table was the fact that I could recline it or put it vertical based on the need, so it would help me ease the pressure on my back when I used to do the drawings. This was the product that I was responsible for. So I had to generate loads and loads, tens and hundreds of these sheets per project. And this was pretty much hard manual work. Every single line was drawn by pencil, was then inked by rotring pens, if anybody remembers those old-time pens. And it was pretty much no way to cut and paste. There was no way to replicate this to other drawings. And I had to generate hundreds of those drawings. Each would take a few hours to generate. Very little automation and very little reuse capability in that. To represent a building to a client, we used to have to go back to watercolors and using our imagination, and also spend an enormous amount of time to actually reflect the end product to our clients. But at that point in time, we thought that we had everything we needed to do our business in the SME company that I was working for. After we finished projects, this was our storage and archival solution. The projects would be rolled in rolls of paper and stacked in the archiving room. Mind you, good luck trying to retrieve information. Good luck trying to find old documents or reuse. And good luck maintaining this information of threats of fire, insects, humidity, loss, misplacement, etc. But that was what we had back then. Then my device changed from that big table to suddenly in the late 80s, early 90s, I got this on my desk instead of the big format of the table. And suddenly everything took a steep change. And the accelerated change was phenomenal. This device allowed me to create tens of these same drawings in a matter of a couple of hours instead of having to do everything manually. It allowed me to cut and paste. It allowed me to reuse information, embed database information, link it to databases, use it much more intelligently. My productivity went up. I was able to show clients three-dimensional representations of the project that they could walk through, that they could visualize. Suddenly, my ability to excite and create new business improved. Storage improved. Instead of rolling things on sheets, we started using these very advanced devices to store information. But still, retrieval wasn't as easy, and loss was very easy. One problem then was sharing. There still wasn't a way for us to share and collaborate between our colleagues. I couldn't easily connect with my colleagues. I had to basically go walk to them and give them the floppy disk for them to reuse. And any work I had to do, I had to go to the office to do that work. My work was very cut. If I'm at the office, I was productive. If I was outside the office, I was totally unproductive. A few years on, and we had new devices now. You have suddenly tablets that are intelligent, that support pen input, that display what you're drawing on a tablet on a screen. Then we evolved. We have computers today running Windows, running digitizing software on PC devices that are portable that allow me to sketch straight on the screen, be able to modify things on the spot, and basically work as if I'm working on paper, but in a much faster way. Many different form factors that allow me to detach the screen, walk away with it. Suddenly, I find myself able to go to the site, to be connected, to check things on the go, to be able to modify documents on the go. This is how fast technology moved, and this is a latest representation of what visualization looks like using that little device, using a tablet. So imagine how fast, in a matter of less than 10 years, technology is moving and how fast it's enabling scenarios. But this is not it. Storage became better. Still, we have some challenges of sharing. What do we have today? So today we have a major new element to this transformation, and it's the power of cloud. It's the power of technology in the cloud, of our ability to leverage economies of scale, connectivity, the mushrooming of different devices and different form factors to be able to be productive, access my information from anywhere, be able to share it with anyone, be it my colleague or be it my client, practically from anywhere, whether it's in an internet cafe, whether I'm at home, whether I'm at the office, whether I'm on the road, even if I'm flying 36,000 feet in the air, I can still be productive. That power of the cloud is a major and significant change. We also have very advanced devices coming across. This is the HoloLens, the Microsoft HoloLens, which basically is a Windows computer, a Windows 10 platform that you wear as a mask. And it allows you to project holographic images of what you are working in front of you. This basically allows me, and I've tried this, it allows you to basically see whatever you're working on as a finished product on a table or on a floor or in a room. You can walk around it, you can interact with it, you can touch it, you can dissect it, and you can basically not only try to visualize to end customers, but you can actually show them the end product as if it was really and physically there. So in a nutshell, it's clear that we see a major shift today, right? Just look at the old versus the new. In the past, we thought of customers as recipients of an end product, single direction. We produced a product that was poorly customized, most probably, standard, generic, that was sent to customers. There was no bi-directional input. There was no feedback loop. Today, customers, your customers, are your brand ambassadors. Today, customers have the power to give you feedback in real time, using social media, using Twitter, using Facebook, using different devices, using different channels. They can impact your brand. Today, your customers can take an active role and participate in the design process of your product. Who would have thought about that in the past? Windows 10 is an example. We had millions of users called the Insider. It was a free participation program where users were asking and giving us feedback on features as we designed the product. It was done in real time. If you look at the hierarchies of the organizations, we went from static, very organizational capabilities and structures of companies to more dynamic, flatter organizations where collaboration is the name of the game, where you don't have strict hierarchies because knowledge is shared among so many. We went from information which was kept in one place, not shared easily, hard to get to, hard to reuse, to information that's out there that can be presented in multiple ways, multiple dashboards at any point in time that you choose that can help you maximize your productivity and be more relevant to your business. Transactional systems became intelligent systems. Just to go back to the buildings of today have the power to alert you if there is a water leak, if there is a breach, if there is a heating problem, if there is an electrical overproduction. It will tell you many, many things. Sensors and Internet of Things is enabling these scenarios. And most importantly, with this shift of technology and how this is impacting, it's very important for us to think about security. Because we went from having to secure the server to having to secure now the boardroom. With the proliferation of mobility, mobile devices, and access, it increases the emphasis on the importance of us having to secure this infrastructure that we deal with. I believe John, by chance, mentioned also some of these. I wanted to refer to them. You know, we mentioned how technology is enabling disruption in a mega way. And some of these that were mentioned, Airbnb, Uber, Facebook, Alibaba, don't have content that they own or assets that they own, yet they're able to disrupt and disturb an incumbent market, leveraging the power of cloud and the power of technology. Today, your future and the people that you will hire, the bright talent, the people that will take your business forward, are the millennials. These are the young generation that come equipped with a different chip. These people don't want to work in the old-fashioned environments. They're used to WhatsApp, they're used to devices. They don't fear technology. They live on social networks. They communicate in different ways. My daughter is 16 years old, and she doesn't know what email is practically. She never uses email, but she's constantly connected to her friends and peers. They demand that work environment. They want to be at that cutting edge. So if you're going to attract this talent, you better think about what do you have at your workplace to attract people that want to work for you. The multiple device choices that are available today are also an interesting mixture. Windows 10 that I mentioned, this is our latest operating system, runs from Raspberry Pi, which is an Internet of Things device, at the far end, to the mobile device, to the phablets, tablets, transformational notebooks. Xbox runs Windows 10. We have boardroom devices, basically major screens of 65 and 85 inches that will run like your boardroom whiteboards, digital intelligent whiteboards, and the HoloLens. They all run a common unified operating system, Windows 10, and they can all be connected to that power of the cloud. If you look at the growth of devices around you, with all the proliferation of tablets, smartphones, PCs, and notebooks, and think about where we're headed. In a few years, by 2020, it's estimated that we will have more than 20 billion connected devices on the planet. Devices that are generating data at a phenomenal speed. Data typically grows double in a couple of years. And it's accelerating. From an amount of data that was created in the world of about 0.16 zettabytes to 4.4 in 2013, and it's expected that it's going to grow to 44 zettabytes by the year 2020. That's the amount of content that's being generated and consumed today. It's phenomenal. But what does all of this do to us? What does it do to your worker? What does it do to your employee? All of this input, all of these devices, all of this insight, all of the data points, all of the channels, the distractions, the disturbance, can only reduce productivity if it's not managed and harnessed in the proper way. Therefore, acknowledging that the work is now a network and that things are changing phenomenally fast, we need to ensure that we have the capability to transition our business from the ways of yesterday, where we had this types of environments, to the future of work. We want to move from hierarchical organizations that were created at the Industrial Revolution age to control growth, to control hierarchy, to ways where people can find each other, where networks are more dynamic and are not structured, where information is easier to share, where skills are easier to be located in your organization. And that is where technology can play a major part. Do you believe the world is changing? It is changing. Just out of a data point, out of the Fortune 500 companies in 1955, how many do you think are already still with us, or how many have disappeared? And I'll tell you, 89% of the Fortune 500 companies that were listed in 1955 are no longer with us today. They're gone. And why are they gone? They haven't adopted change. They didn't innovate. They didn't reinvent. They sat idle. These are big companies. So you can imagine the impact of change can have on SMEs. Jack Welch said once, this is a great quote, he said, if the rate of change on the outside of your organization, if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, then you're gone. Your days are over. And that's a call for embracing change and for leveraging the opportunity that this change provides. At Microsoft, we believe that the power of technology has a profound impact on your organization, on your ability to be more productive, on your ability to innovate, on your ability to disturb and disrupt, and to be more productive, more profitable, and grow faster. And we believe that the cloud platform of today is the technology that will enable the scenarios of tomorrow for you. And Microsoft is a global leader in cloud productivity, in cloud infrastructure, in cloud platform for years. Our CEO, Mr. Satya Nadella, was the person that was responsible for setting the platform and the infrastructure in the cloud for Microsoft, the Azure platform, and he now runs the company. So we are fully committed to the cloud business. All our products now are first-class citizens on the cloud. That's where we're headed. And we believe that we need to empower every person and every organization in the planet to achieve more using the technology in a mobile-first and a cloud-first world. How do we do that? We do that by creating more personal computing, devices and interfaces that are more personal, that are more familiar, that you're used to using, but that would work on a iPhones, would work on Android, would work on Windows, would work on tablets, would work on TVs, would work on different form factors that you can imagine. We believe in reinventing the productivity tools and the business process tools, leveraging the cloud platform. And we believe in creating the intelligent cloud network that would protect your data and offer insight and secure your organization. We fully believe that technology is a differentiator for your organization. Companies that adopt technology and make it not a cost element, but a differentiated element are growing faster. This is based on market studies by the Boston Consulting Group, are growing faster, 15%, their revenues are growing than their peers, and are able to attract and grow by a double factor than your peers. So, what do you achieve with a cloud platform? Number one, you get to do your business anywhere and on any device. You're no longer limited by a space, by a special device or a special place that you need to be productive. You can be productive from your car, you can be productive from your home, you can be productive at your vacation. Anywhere you want, you can basically touch your work environment. You also want us to enable mechanisms that safeguard all of this data in this world. So things like privacy, things like security, disaster recovery, all of that has to be very well designed and organized. And then you want to make sure that we offer the customer a way to grow efficiently. Instead of moving into a pre-investment model where you are buying ahead of time, we want to give you an ability to go from a CapEx to an OpEx model, where you're buying as you need. It's a subscription-based service. You don't need to over-invest if you don't anticipate the demand in the future. So that's the power and that's the beauty of the cloud. And finally, we want to enable the digital transformation for your business. New ways for you to connect with your customers, new ways for you to partner with your suppliers, new ways for you to leverage data in a marketing way. And to leverage that, because that's frankly what today is the biggest differentiator for you. So, the business anywhere model is, and I've seen that many times in different devices. You can pick up a document on your iPhone, continue editing it on Word on your PC. Your colleague can co-author this document with you. You can protect versions of it. So basically, you can have ultimate flexibility by leveraging this cloud platform. And it all sits for you, and it's protected for you in the cloud. You don't need to worry about the infrastructure, setting up the infrastructure, the cost of modernizing the infrastructure. It's always kept up to date for you, and it will run on multiple device form factors for you. We want to make sure that, as I said, safeguarding your data, and it's very important. And if you think about it, safeguarding is multiple things. You want to safeguard against theft. You want to safeguard against compliance risks. You also want to safeguard against natural disasters and things that are out of your control. The recent flooding that we had a few days ago reminded me of how important it is to ensure that you are resilient to this, and that as an SME, you don't fall because of a natural disaster that suddenly handicaps your ability to do business. You want to be productive. You want to be able to perform even in the worst cases when you can't reach your office, when you can suddenly mobilize and work from a remote location. I was reading recently an article about a region in Thailand that apparently had an above average adoption of cloud technologies in SMEs. And the reason is the frequent flooding that area of Bangkok and Thailand had. And the only companies that were able to survive all those frequent floodings were the companies that had their assets, their IT and computing assets, sitting in the cloud. If you look at some of the research, it says 40% of the companies that are hit by natural disasters never recover unless you have a disaster and resilience strategy leveraging cloud. Like I mentioned, growing efficiently is another very important point where we want to make sure that you have a flexible way of growing. In today's environment, and His Excellency Abdul Basit referred to it, when times are tough, as an SME, I want to make sure that I have the most flexible and logical way to invest in technology, where I'm using and paying for what I'm using. And I literally can save loads of budget just by moving from an on-premise, old-fashioned approach to using technology to a modern cloud-based approach of using technology. Connecting with customers and suppliers, making sure that you can collaborate with them, making sure that you can leverage new tools such as CRM Online, tools such as Power BI and Power Pivot that will allow you to have advanced ways and advanced dashboards to use the data in a more intelligent way because you have the data. That is all the promise of the cloud for us. A couple of examples before I wrap up. One is Physio, is a company that basically moved their IT infrastructure and adopted cloud and mainly new device form factors, tablets, for their medical engineers. And they've achieved 15% extra productivity from their therapists just by leveraging modern device form factors, resilient devices that they can take and be mobile with. Another local entity, Mobile Doctors 24/7, it's a regional case study, basically decided to stop worrying about building the capability internally and worrying about spending enormous amount of budget on building their IT infrastructure, and instead focused on their business process and enabled mobility, leveraging Office 365 and Azure, and invested all their attention on their business and on healthcare, providing healthcare, rather than spending all the effort on their IT infrastructure. With Mobile Doctors 24/7, there's a nice video case study that I'm going to share with you right now that speaks to their experience of moving to cloud and what that enabled them. Maha, if you can just put the...
After starting working for a bank in Wall Street for a couple of years, I really wanted to be able to do something on my own to make sure at the end of my retirement years, I've achieved something that I can call that was mine and had my own impact. And there's nothing more important in people's lives really than healthcare. This is really where I decided to be an entrepreneur, and the only way really you can fulfill your dream, you have to go on your own. You can't work for a company and wait for them to do what you think should be done, should not be done. When you look at healthcare, all the evidence shows that 70% of healthcare conditions that are not an emergency could be resolved by simply speaking to a doctor on the phone. What we've put together really with Mobile Doctors and the Click We Care program is the ability to, when people call us anytime 24/7, we can provide them with an answer and a solution and make sure that we direct them to the appropriate level of care. Technology really allowed us to save a lot of money to be able to spend the money where it's needed, which is on the doctors, to be able to provide the services that we do for the patients. The state-of-the-art that is provided by Microsoft gives us the ability to focus on allocating our resources